Hashtag super good. Hey guys, this is Frozen Wish Studios here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today I am doing my long awaited review, my long delayed review for Superman. So, Superman is the latest Superman film, the seventh major live action theatrically released Superman film overall, and it's the third era, well, the fourth era of Superman, and it is directed by James Gunn, who I think is tied with Anthony and Joe Russo as the greatest comic book movie director of all time. Well, maybe Jake Schreier could be my favorite comic book director of all time, but I don't want to say that just over because of one film. And it came out in the year 2025. It came out last week, technically. And it stars David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, Eddie Gathagi, Anthony Carrigan, Nathan Fillion, Isabella Merced, Maria Gabriela de Faria, Skylar Gisondo, Sarah Sampaio, Hoover, Purita Taylor Vince, Neva Howell, Wendell Pierce, Alan Tudyk, Bradley Cooper, Bob Clementieff, Michael Rooker, etc. And so the film tells the story of Superman. Well, we all know who Superman is, and you might think this is the origin story, right? Well, nope, it is not. As the film actually kind of tells the kind of story you'd expect in a sequel, believe it or not, which I think is a good thing. So so basically, Lex Luthor wants revenge on Superman. That's always been the goal of Lex Luthor. He is like the world's number one, the world's biggest Superman hater ever. And so Lex has this plan to invade a country. I forgot what country that is, honestly. That's one thing I really forgot about this movie. So yeah, Lex wants to invade this one country because of foreign policy stuff. And also because he wants to prevent Superman from interfering with foreign policy laws, because so that if Superman does anything to break the law, no matter how good he does it, he may this may cause Superman to pretty much become illegal, like something like that. Well, a little hard to explain, I mean, but so yeah, so Superman must stop Lex Luthor's plans from pretty much teaming up with this dictator. And at the same time, though, Superman has Lex has shown this video that actually video from Krypton that makes the world turn against Superman, and so Superman embarks on a journey to reconcile his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing as Clark Kent. And so yeah, it's a pretty complicated plot, but I think it is yeah, it's still a really good plot though. I will say though, even if it is complicated, but yeah. So yeah, so sorry for the delay of this review. The reason why I did not review Superman earlier on is because I was on vacation. I went to South Korea. I won't say where, but it's not Seoul, or probably not what you expect. When you think of like South Korean cities. So yeah, I watched Superman in on January 9th, last, like, exactly 1 week ago. Yeah, that was when I saw it. And then um, and then a day after I saw Superman, I went to I left for South Korea, and then I came back just last night. And so yeah, now I was originally going to rewatch Superman again. I was like gonna wait until I saw Superman for the second time before doing this review. But then I thought about it, and yeah, I was originally going to rewatch Superman today, but I decided to rewatch it. I decided I was gonna watch Superman for the second time tomorrow. Two reasons why. One is that I don't want to do a lot today. I don't want to do too much today because there are other things to do for me. There are, like, yeah, other things. And two, And secondly, I think second I'm gonna watch this movie on D Box. Yes, D Box is where I'm watching next one because I have never been to D Box, but I really want to experience it so badly. I've noticed that the D Box seats in in my area here, they get full easily. So I'm gonna be buying my tickets in advance for Superman in D Box for tomorrow, and then yeah, tomorrow's when I'll watch it. And yeah, but the reason why I decided to review it now instead of wait until I see it for a second time is because Superman is at least still fresh in my mind. Well, despite me like badly explaining the plot synopsis for the film, at least I still have enough things. The movie is still fresh in my mind for things to say about the film. Mainly because this has been the talk of the internet now. It still has been the talk of the internet. So yeah, and yeah. Now, yeah. So now let's talk about Superman himself first. Now, I wouldn't say Superman is one of my absolute favorite superheroes of all time, but I think I've grown to love Superman more when I went through the rewatches of the Superman films, whether they're good or bad. Yeah. I'm still more of a Batman fan than a Superman fan. I would say Batman is my favorite male DC hero of all time, but Superman would be my second favorite male DC hero of all time behind Batman. And as for my thoughts on the Superman movie, starting with the 1978 Superman film, while I don't think it's the masterpiece that people say it is, the 1978 Superman film is still a classic. And I think that film should be respected because it is the first Superman film to it is the superhero film to kickstart the blockbuster superheroes. Because I think back before Superman, superhero films were just TV movie parodies, and it was hard for pretty much and it felt impossible to make an actual uh, comic book movie. But then 1978 Superman came in, and now without that film, we wouldn't have comic book movies like Batman or the Batman movies or even like any of the MCU movies or the Marvel movies in general, or even the Dark Knight trilogy. Superman was made just as an experiment to see what would a superhero blockbuster be like, and it was a success. But however, I do think it is out. It not everything about that film ages well, especially that unnecessary time travel sequence. Like Superman was such a pussy, honestly. Like maybe I would like he should have just accepted the fact that Lois is dead, and maybe that would have made a great arc for him in Superman 2, or maybe just not. Maybe the movie should not have attempted to kill off Lois at all. But yeah, and then we got Superman 2, which I think is solid. It's a good film, but honestly, I don't think it's yeah, I do have issues with Superman 2. Sure, I mean it does feature the my favorite Superman villain, General Zod. Yeah, General Zod is actually my favorite Superman villain, like in general, even over Lex Luthor. But I think the movie has a way too little, such a lack of Superman. I'm not really a fan of the plot of Clark Kent giving up his Superman heritage just to be with Lois. That's not a good plot, and not even a good reason for Superman to ditch his superhero heritage like that. But then the Superman movies go downhill from there as then came my personal least favorite Superman movie, Superman 3. Is Superman for the question for Peace objectively the worst Superman movie ever? Yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, that movie, Superman for Quest for Peace, the less said about that film, the better. But Superman 3 is a movie that I think does not get enough hate. Like, that movie is atrocious. Like, at least with Superman 4, I'll give it this. The reason why I don't think it's the worst Superman movie, well, two reasons. One is that it doesn't focus. One is that at least it focuses on Clark Kent, like the story is about him, no matter how bad the story is. And two, the movie doesn't do anything remotely offensive to the character of Superman. But this one, it was about a character who I don't even think even existed in the comics. Gus Gorman, I think is his name. And my God, what they did to Superman in the third act, making Superman a drunken asshole who apparently splits bodies with Clark Kent. I will never forgive that treatment, that kind of treatment to Superman. I will. That is not Superman. That is like, whoa. And then you got Superman Returns, which was meant to be the return to form of Superman. And why I respect the film for what it's trying to be, and it's a well-made film. Unfortunately, though, yeah, that movie, yeah, it's it's a wasted potential. It's probably the most underwhelming Superman movie yet. And but then the Superman movie, Superman, it was back with Man of Steel. Sure, Man of Steel may have like the most toxic fan bases right now. More on that later. And yeah, but I still really enjoy Man of Steel for what it is. I still dug the hell out of Man of Steel. I don't think it's a five. Although I don't think it's a 5 out of 5 masterpiece. I do think Lois Lane does not age well to me. I think the DCU's iteration of Lois Lane, played by Amy Adams, that did not does not age well at all to me. But I still love Henry Cavill as Superman, and I admire the dark take on the character. I think Superman is a character who I can see being turned dark, unlike Spider Man with that shitty ass Amazing Spider Man one. Ugh. Um, but yeah, but yeah, Superman. Yeah, my expectations for Superman were really high. Because yeah, David Corson was a perfect Superman. Even in other projects that he was in, like one example being Pearl. Yeah, it's Pearl. You can clearly see David Corenswet looks like Clark Kent and Superman. So yeah, you can already see that he would make a perfect Superman. And so the fact that we ended up with getting David Corenswet as Superman, perfect casting choice. Yeah, but the main reason why I had high hopes for this one, going and expecting it to be the greatest Superman movie ever, is because of James Gunn. Every single sure, I mean his non-Marvel slash DC movies are not masterpieces like Super, for example. I still like Super a lot. But I don't think it's a I think it's I don't think it's the best James Gunn movie. And also that horror film he did, I forgot, Still With or something like that. I think the movie is okay, I guess. So definitely the weakest James Gunn movies. But when it comes to the James Gunn's of Marvel and DC movies, I love every single one of them. I mean, we got Guardians of the Galaxy, a film that people were all already a fanboy that James Gunn for that film, a film where he took unpopular comics characters, and people went into that movie with low expectations, but turns out they were blown away by it. And then there was the next two Guardians films. I would say Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is the weak link in the weakest of the James Gunn's Marvel and DC blockbusters, but I still love it regardless. And then he made Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is the greatest James Gunn movie ever. No competition whatsoever. And then there came yeah um and then James Gunn went into DC and directed the Suicide Squad, and everybody loved it. Like, the Suicide Squad was so good that that movie was the reason why James Gunn decided to move into DC, let alone be DC's new CEO, where James Gunn would create his new DC universe. That's how good the Suicide Squad was. And yeah, and Superman was shown a lot of promise, as you can clearly feel that this not only is this a James Gunn movie, but you based on, like, the way that this movie was promoted, this is James Gunn's passion project. This is like the most passionate I've ever seen of James Gunn. Yeah, and but then there comes the haters online, the Snyder cultists. Oh my goodness, that fucking piece of shit fandom. Now, does the Snyder cultist make me hate Man of Steel? Yeah, they kind of did make me lower my rating from 5 stars to 4.5 out of 5 stars. But that, and also, um, just the way Superman how looked in comparison to Man of Steel. Yeah, it made Man of Steel not the masterpiece that I thought I remembered it being. But just because I like Zack Snyder does not mean I should contribute into being a Snyder fan. And guys, if you like Zack Snyder and you're not a toxic person, don't be afraid to call out the toxic Snyder cultists who have been harassing James Gunn ever since it wasn't the day the announcement came that Henry Cavill was officially going to retire as Superman. They have been like threatening, cyberbullying, like just straight up boycotting James Gunn from the get go, like with a passion, and all constantly just asking to like, oh, restore the Snyderverse. Yeah, the whole reason why this movie is getting a lot of hate from the Snyder cultists is because of the fact that James Gunn shut down DCU and ended the Snyderverse and ended Henry Cavill's run as Superman. And yeah, and yeah, just when Man of Steel 2 was Man of Steel 2 was announced shortly before that fluke happened. That and yeah, and then the reviews came. Yeah, but then there were like the gun fans who had faith in this one, and they were really excited. They were really hyped up for this film, and yeah, and the reviews came out, and yeah, the movie has a huge fan base. There are people who say that this movie is a masterpiece and the greatest Superman movie ever. But the rating isn't that high, the 82% rating, because the Snyder cultists hate this movie. Yeah, this movie. Yeah, the Snyder cultists did not bother giving this movie a chance. They just straight up hated. They were they just straight up hated this movie. But yeah. So yeah, the Snyder cultists, they're not men. They're in it. Yeah. And so now, yeah, so sorry for like now I know I apologize if I took a little too long in this intro. Maybe I was just too excited to get back into making these videos, but I had a lot to say about Superman prior to my thoughts on it. But now let's get into my thoughts. Now, before I get into my actual review of the film, I just want to warn you guys that this will be a spoiler-filled review. Yes, I will go all out on spoiling this movie, mainly because I expect that everyone I know, like you should have saw this film by now. If you haven't seen this film yet, then what are you doing? Watch this movie ASAP. Don't waste your time, and don't you dare watch Murphs instead of this one. I am watching you, people. I am watching you, man child. Now, I I would say Superman 2025 is the best Superman movie ever. Like this, honestly, no other Superman movies come close to this. And yes, guys, yes, I am on James Gunn's side 100%. Stay mad, Snyder cultist. Superman is not only the greatest Superman movie ever by a huge landslide, but this is the best DC movie in general since The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, I mean, I may have loved the Joker and a lot and many of the DCU movies and the Batman. I I haven't loved a DC movie to this extent since The Dark Knight Rises. I am not kidding. I still, as much as I like Zack Snyder and Man of Steel, this is my Superman right here. James Gunn and David Gordon Sweat. This is Superman, guys. This is Superman. This is a Superman that is. This Superman is the most comic accurate yet with the way his character was portrayed. We see a good combination of Superman saving people and kicking ass too. Not only do we see Superman being a badass, but we see the hopeful Superman too. This Superman is depicted as a human being, not as a god. David Cornswell not only my definitive Superman, but he gives the best leading actor performance of the year so far. He was absolutely perfect for the role of Superman, and not only did he look like the part, but he perfectly performed it. And yeah, I there so far. I mean, he is so far, guys. David Cornswell is a front runner to win Best Actor at the Frozen Awards. And by the way, I really should continue the Frozen Awards. Like I really have slowed down on that. But yeah, James Gunn proves what an amazing filmmaker he truly is, and especially with writer. There are a lot of things going on and a lot of characters to juggle in this one, but Gunn manages to balance all of them in just 2 hours. Nothing felt bloated and nothing felt messy. Every single millisecond of this film wastes no time with fillers and moments, and a moment where nothing happens. No, yeah, every single scene is important to the story, and the pacing is just as fast as Superman's flight speed. Yet, not a single moment in the pacing felt rushed at all. Yeah, you'd have to hold your breath. Excuse me, sneezed. Yeah, you'd have to hold your breath like throughout this entire 2 hour runtime. There is not a single scene that isn't to that gives you time to breathe. You breathe when the credits roll. That's the time for breathing. So yeah. Now where was I? Yeah. Now I know one of the more criticized elements of the film is the Justice Gang, but they had more screen time than I thought personally. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, some you may argue that they did not need to be in this film, but I think they were necessary because they had a purpose to the story and were necessary. Superman was put into a high stakes situation where he needed to be assisted by other superheroes. Yeah, Mr. Terrific's purpose was to help find and track down Superman, where no one else had a clue on where he is, and he uses abilities to help Superman get out of certain situations he's stuck in. Green Lantern and Hawkgirl were needed to fight in the secondary situations that Superman cannot attend because he's dealing with another situation. The final battle, I'll talk more about how epic that final battle was later, but that final battle had two different battles going on. So both Green Lantern and Hawkgirl were used to fight the second battle. The second battle being that foreign country invasion that Lexus played from the very beginning. They Superman tasked them to help us stop that war so that Superman can focus on saving his hometown, and he wouldn't have been pressured to fight those two battles at once. Yeah. And I think the Justice Gang was handled really well without overshadowing Superman. Hawkgirl is my favorite member of the Justice Gang. Screw the sexist anti-woman haters. People say Hawkgirl is the worst character in the film. I mean, no, they hate her just because she's a woman. She's a female. Yeah. Mr. Traffic was terrific. No pun intended. Although I will admit that I do think Mr. Traffic is slightly overrated. Yeah, because everyone says he's the best character in the film. I don't think I wouldn't put him as one of my favorite characters in the film, but he's still really good. Green Lantern is the weakest member of the Justice Gang, but he's still a fun character, and especially when he flips out the middle finger with his green powers. Yeah, that was hilarious. And it's just nice to see a Green Lantern on film since we've never gotten a Green Lantern in a film since that shitty 2011 Green Lantern movie that we don't speak of. But I will rant on Green Lantern 2011 leading up to the Lanterns TV show. Skylar Gisondo's Jimmy Olsen is a character very personal to me, and honestly might be my favorite male character in the film. My second favorite character in the film. Honestly, I'm going that far. I think this Jimmy Olsen is really highly underrated, and people need to give Skylar more credit. Like seriously. But my favorite character in the film would have to be Lois Lane. Yeah, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane is the best casting choice in the film, and she could not have been more perfect for the role. Ever since I saw that official trailer for the film where they showed the Lois interviewing Clark, that scene alone in the official trailer, that was when I was like, okay, this is already my Lois Lane. I'm already in love with Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, not only does Rachel Brosnahan play Lois Lane, she is Lois Lane. Like, forget any other Lois Lane. Even though I will defend Kate Bosworth's Lois Lane from Superman Returns to the Day I Die. Now, my criticism with Man of Steel is the chemistry between Superman and Lois Lane being lackluster. Plus that and also the fact that Lois Lane, while I think she's an okay Lois Lane, she does not age well. But we get a real strong chemistry between Superman and Lois Lane. The best chemistry you'll ever see between iterations of these two. their chemistry is just on another level, and you can feel Lois's love for Superman when she had to do out of this world things just to save him. Like one example being when Superman gets stuck in Lex's pocket universe. He's imprisoned, and then Mr. Terrific like tracks the Superman, and Lois like joins Mr. Terrific in going into this pocket dimension, even if she isn't someone capable of going into this like alien universe. Like that's not something like Lois would do, and that's what I love about Lois. And then there's Lex Luthor, the villain of the year so far. Although I think that Galactus could top Lex as the best villain of the year, Lex Luthor is just yeah, yeah. I mean we haven't gotten a good Lex Luthor since Gene Hackman. Yeah, Kevin Spacey's Lex Luthor is overrated. I do not get the love for his Lex Luthor. And by the way, no, I'm not hating on Kevin Spacey just because of the bad things that he did in real life. He just didn't. He just felt more like Kingpin than Lex Luthor. But yeah, but and yeah, the less said about Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, the better. All I'll say about Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor is worst DCEU character ever. But yeah, Nicholas Holt. Now that is Lex Luthor right here. Yeah, James Gunn, Lex had so much aura in him, and Nicholas Holt gives his best performance in his entire career so far. James Gunn truly knows how to write villains who audiences would love to hate. When a villain pisses people off so much, that means the writers are doing a good job crafting a villain because villains are characters you're meant to hate. And man, did Lex Luthor piss me the fuck off. Like seriously, Crypto is adorable. It is adorable and the greatest Crypto. Yeah, it's way better than shitty DC Legal Superbad's Crypto. Oh, and by the way, yeah, Lex Luthor and DC Legal Superbad is another shit. Lex Luthor more tolerable than Jesse Eisenberg, but still. The story is very well crafted, despite it very hard to explain. Like if you were to explain the story to someone, it is hard, but it's still a very well written story. It tells a new kind of Superman story without repeating the origin story, which is what I like most about the plot. It tackles themes of humanity, and it is a reminder that we are defined by who we choose to be. And the essential storyline is more complex than I thought. It's not messy or derivative, just a story that may require thinking. There's politics and real world stuff in this, like how Lex's goal is invading another country. And one of the things that the movie tackles is cancel culture. Yeah, cancel culture, especially with this major plot line, which, by the way, I gotta talk about this because there's one decision made in the film that got huge backlash, even from those who even from some of the positive reviews that they were hating on this plot twist. It was where the quote unquote twist that second part of the message where apparently Jor El wants Kal El slash Superman to conquer Earth. He was like they revealed that Jor El sent Clark Kent to Earth to pretty much conquer him. So people interpreted that as as Jor El and Lara L being villains, being evil, which may be like an idea that takes both swings. But hear me out, guys. I don't think Jor El is meant to make Superman. I don't think Jor El did actually send Superman to Earth to conquer it and pretty much invade it. He and enslave people, because if you notice, Jor El's message is in a foreign language and nobody understands. Not even Superman could understand it, which is why he needed the robots to translate it for him. Yeah. And what else? Oh yeah, and and then Superman. No, sorry. Lex Luthor went into Krypton to get the message, to pick out the message, and they did not hear the translations. And then, but then when Lex Luthor when Jor El's message was exposed on the news, showing like thanks to Lex Luthor, so like this before the second half of the message, there was like this cut and then it proceeded to Jor El pretty much quote unquote revealing that he wants Superman to take over Earth. Like like the whole and in Lex in Jor El's message, there was a translation. So therefore may I think personally think that it was a mistranslation. I don't think that that's what he was meant to say, and yeah. But then but this in fact this the whole goal of Lex Luthor is to make the world hate Superman, and he would be capable of cheating his way into it because of how manipulative he was throughout. So yeah, I think I don't think Jor-El is evil, but I think Supergirl will answer those questions for sure. I can see that happening. So yeah. Oh, and also there were two films where James Gunn was taking a jab on the Snyder Code. This when in the Superman and Lois interview scene. So where Superman when Lois Lane calls out the social media people for using hashtag super shit, which is one of the main hashtags that Snyder bots used against his film. And there was a scene where Lex had an army of chimpanzees creating cancel culture posts against Superman online. Those chimpanzees are basically the Snyder cult in a nutshell. Huh. That was actually the funniest scenes in the film. But there were some pretty funny scenes too, by the way. Like the story also offers a lot of surprises, like the fact that Ultraman is actually a clone of Superman. That was such a cool twist, and also some great cameos too. Like a shocking cameo from Peacemaker. No joke, guys. My audiences cheered at the Peacemaker cameo, and also that ending cameo, the Supergirl cameo. At first, though, I'll admit that I did not feel much. When I saw Supergirl cameo, I was not jumping for joy when I saw that. But the more I see photos of that Supergirl cameo, the more I actually get excited for it. So yeah, unsurprisingly for a James Gunn movie, there was comedy, but this was a nice change of comedy tone for Gunn because the comedy felt very natural, and they didn't throw in jokes every second. There was one cartoony joke, like specifically with the ship. When Lois was going to drive that Daily Planet employees with Mr. Terrific ship, and then the ship just falls down at first before flying. The way that the ship falls down was very cartoonish, but it was actually funny. And and also there were some crypto jokes, like when Supergirl when Superman asks Crypto to take the to grab Superman from the floating river inside the pocket universe. But then Crypto just decided to lick Metamorphose son and said, oh, by the way, Metamorphose another great minor character in this one. Yeah, that was pretty funny. But all the other jokes are basically dialogue exchange jokes, and the dialogue exchanges jokes are my favorite type of humor in film. So of course they were my type of humor. The action really shocked me because I was not expecting this much stakes in the action, let alone the almost nearly a non-stop action. Yeah, there's plenty of action, and my goodness, the final battle is an all-out epic brawl with massive set pieces. The visuals are absolutely excellent, and I love how different they look from other VFX and comic book movies. That's actually why some people hate on the visuals in this film. They're just not they're just not used to it. Let's be real here. Now, there were elements in the film that I would not consider among my favorite elements in the Superman eras, like John Murphy's score for the film. While still really good, isn't anywhere near as good as Hans Zimmer and John Williams' scores. Martha Kent was charming and funny, but this is honestly my least favorite iteration of Martha. Diane Lane will always be my Martha Kent. Oh, speaking of which, Jonathan Kent was the biggest surprise in the film, as I was not expecting it to be that good. The scene with him giving a pep talk to Clark, like convincing him on who he should really be, that made me cry. Honestly, I did not expect to say this, but Puerto Revenge is now my Jonathan Kent. As for the other characters who I did not get a chance to mention yet, Perry White is probably my least favorite character in the film, as he was just there without anything much to do. But I wouldn't consider that a flaw of the film. Engineer and Ultraman were such badass henchmen to Lex, and the Ultraman reveal, yeah, with him being Superman's clone, was pretty cool. And I like how that Ultraman, that evil Superman clone, looked like Henry Cavill if you think about it. Although it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was on like a holy shit factor. Now, my only negative about this film is that the post credit scenes were kind of useless. I would say that the Supergirl cameo should have been a post credit scene because the actual post credit scenes we got, yeah, not quite worth it. So overall, Superman 2025 is the absolute greatest iteration of Superman yet. It is among my top three great. It is among the top three greatest DC movies of all time. The DCU has started off with this big of a bang, and I am already in love with this new universe. It is already DCU. The DCU is already better than the DCU, as this film is better than all of the DCEU movies combined. I believe that the future film in the DCU could top The Dark Knight as the greatest DC movie of all time. Maybe it could be Supergirl, as Supergirl has always been my most anticipated James Gunn DCU movie, but I'm 50-50 on it. But yeah, I would say that this would be my second favorite James Gunn movie, second only behind Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And it is my second favorite superhero movie of 2025 behind Thunderbolts. Yeah, I can still see Fantastic Four first steps topping this as the best movie of July 2025. Man, is 2025 cooking hard for superhero movies. So I said, guys, I'm going to give Superman 2025 a freaking course 5 stars out of 5. Best Superman movie ever. So also for my review of Superman 2025, what are your thoughts on the movie? Would you agree with me that this is the best Superman movie ever? Do you still think the 1978 Superman film is your favorite? Would you prefer Man of Steel over this one? Or do you outright dislike this movie? At least, even though this is not your favorite Superman movie, do you like or not like this movie? Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my extreme epic rant on Smurfs 2025. Oh god. I'm seeing that movie online tomorrow night, by the way, so that review will come out, that rant will come out on Friday. Bye, guys.